guys, and welcome back to my channel, KariLeighC. Today I'm going to be making Nimkee, a traditional Indian snack. So first, I've got my flour in the bowl already. I'm using 1.5 cups of just plain white all-purpose flour. Next thing I'm gonna add, I've already got things kind of put together in little separate dishes. So in here I've got 1 teaspoon of nigella seeds, 1 teaspoon of jeera or cumin seeds, and then I have 1/4 teaspoon of hing and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Go ahead and put that in there. And then next, I just have salt and pepper. So I'm using 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Next thing we're gonna add is 1.5 tablespoons of soft ghee. Gonna go ahead and mix that all together. Okay, and then I've got some cold water, and I'm just gonna add a little bit at a time and mix it up until I've got a kind of tough but pliable dough. And I actually learned how to make this right at the beginning of quarantine this last year. I was doing a bunch of different Indian breads. I made roti, paratha, made puri, and this was kind of just something else that we found a snack on. And roll this and knead it a little bit. Now I'm going to roll it out until it's about 1/4 inch thickness. Pretty tough, so it might take you some time to get it that flat. And then I'm going to take a pizza cutter and just cut it in strips about 1 inch apart. Using canola oil, you can use vegetable oil, and basically I just put them in my little straining spoon, actually not little, giant straining spoon, and slide them in. They only have to cook for, maybe 20 seconds. They get brown pretty quick. And I usually put like a max of 10 of them in at a time, because then it gets kind of hard to keep track of which ones you've been cooking. And you don't want to crowd the pan, then they can't cook evenly, they don't move around, they get stuck to each other. Excited, these are some of my favorite snacks, especially with chai, because that's what I'm going to make next. I wanted to make these first so they have time to cool down. Yeah, the chai doesn't usually take that long to make, but I didn't want the chai to get cold. You have to be strategic. try and give them a little flip while they're in the oil, because when they float, then they don't tend to brown on the top side. And you just want them lightly golden. I love this spoon. I got it on Amazon. You can see it. Didn't cost very much, and it's been a huge help for making anything, especially in fry oil. It's a nice balance of sweet and salty when you do the chai with the Nimkee. I usually salt them once I get a nice layer going on the plate, but that's just because I really like salt. There is salt already mixed in. Last batch to flip. And usually I'd be cooking with the fan on, but it's a little loud. Now we're done, and we've got a beautiful plate of Nimkee, which I almost just lost. Let's see how they taste. Moment of truth. So good. Sometimes people make it with oil, like in the beginning where I added ghee. Some people add oil instead. I think the ghee is the best part. All right, and now I'm gonna make the chai. So I've already got 16 ounces of milk in my pot. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on medium low for right now. So we'll leave that there. Now I'm gonna muddle or smash my spices. So I usually take 1 star of anise or half. DJ doesn't like the spice in the chai that much, so I usually do half. That in there. And I'm gonna take 4 cloves. I know that's super specific, but I've just found that this is the best mix. I'm gonna take 5 cardamom pods. I'm gonna go ahead and mash those. And then I'm gonna mash my cinnamon stick too. I used to not mash it and I just put it in there, but when I try and pour the tea, because it's one big piece, it usually makes the chai fly everywhere. All right, so now I'm just gonna add this into my milk mixture. And I'm gonna take my tea powder. We use this Brook & Bond Red Label. Just says loose leaf black tea. I've got a pretty big spoon, so I'm just gonna take about 2 spoons this amount. Drop that in there. I like spicy chai, so I put black pepper. DJ doesn't like it as much. And then you could do fresh ginger, but I usually use the powdered ginger just because it's faster. So I'd say probably a 1/4 teaspoon. I don't measure much. And we'll just give that a stir. Since my pot's not non-stick, the metal sounds a little scary when you start stirring. And then I add the sugar. Today I'm using this Punjabi shakar. It's jaggery. We got it at the Indian store. I think it was a Patel Brothers. Gives you one. I put quite a bit of sugar in there. Now I did 10 scoops, but it wasn't a full spoon. It was like just a little bit until I get to the right place. We like our chai sweet. Now I'm going to turn it up a little bit, like medium high, and we're just going to wait for it to start boiling. Once it gets there, I'll turn it back down and let it boil about 3-4 times, and then it'll be ready. I made chai for the first time in my life, and I just used a recipe we found online. It turned out pretty good, and then I kept experimenting with the different spices you could put in there. I think we used fennel for a while. I know some people put saffron in theirs. I haven't tried that yet. That's fancy chai. So I'm going to turn it up and let it rise in the pot. Turn it down for a second and let it kind of simmer. Just the point where it's about to boil over and it doesn't. Leave it there and stir for a second. I did go over. It's kind of orangey color. So that's what all this boiling is for. That's how I get it there. You just want to make sure to keep stirring so that it doesn't totally burn the milk into the pan. And I find as long as you bring the heat up pretty high while you're cooking it, that the spices get in there pretty well anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. We just use a French press to strain it, so I'm going to try and gracefully pour this into that. And you just push it down, you don't have to do any straining. We have chai. So don't forget to drop a comment below and let me know what you'd like to watch me cook next or try cooking. Can't guarantee that it'll turn out well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.